Hey, it's your boy, Marty, and I want you to keep listening to today's Fullerton Unfiltered. Big news about L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2021. You don't want to miss out on that. Not to mention, it's a good show. You're going to enjoy it. Thanks for listening.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Well, you're doing like your air breathing Pilates exercises here because you're 9.5 months pregnant. So you pull a fork out of the drawer and you're breathing heavy. You fill up a thing of water. You like sound like Darth Vader behind the scenes. Come on, we gotta hurry up. Dude, we need to get a show out. Okay, baby could come any minute now. If you pop.
Any second.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I'm trying to do the thing where like singers, like they try to get their singer voice. So they're like, oh, e, I, o, e, o, e.
Was that?
That could be Native American. I'm not sure. All right, ready? Yeah. All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, and we are joined with co-host, beautiful wifey for life, Elizabeth Fuller.
Did I just get a promotion?
Yeah, it's a non-paying position because it has to generate profit and revenue for us to make money. So we make payroll all the time because payroll's zero for you. Don't have to sweat about payroll with this company. You know what I'm saying? Money's always in the checking account. It just never grows or gets smaller. So anyway, hey, we wanted to have you back on the show. We just love doing these weekly updates lately. A lot of folks are always like, get Liz on the show more, get Liz on the show more. And I don't know, I think you like humanize me and the podcast and you kind of just offer a different, beautiful perspective, something that's a little bit more authentic and not so much salesy. And I don't know. What do you think?
A nice way of calling me like unprofessional.
No, not at all. I think you just bring a different element to the show that, all of us are out there selling and working and hustling and like, guys are just like, what's the angle? What's the angle? What's this guy talking about? I'm doing that. It's like, I'm already doing this, man. I could host that podcast. I could do that business. It's always like that ego, and you come in here as a beautiful lady, a feminine touch, and you're like, hi, everybody, play nice. How are we all doing? So how are you feeling, by the way? So
good.
This episode is going to go out, and we
may or may not have the baby.
We may or may not. This is being pre-recorded a couple of days early because we're trying to get some content ahead of schedule because we, hey, news alert, might have a baby. So we literally could have this going out and we might be in a nursing room, or what's it called? A birthing center?
Birthing center.
We're doing a water birth.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully a water birth. And we had a beautiful birthing center about 20 minutes down the road, which is really exciting. That's why all these guys are, listening to the show today.
Really want to know
they want to know how that's 100% true. So we could have a baby by now. We might.
Gosh, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it could have came a day or two ago. Could come tomorrow. Could come today. Could be as this podcast goes out.
A lot of people think like you just have your baby on the due date. So, I mean, that's not always the case. So if we don't have the baby, please don't keep asking us when we're having the baby. Because I don't know.
We don't know.
The microwave.
Yeah. You don't hit just like the start-stop button.
No.
Stay protected and connected as you grow your lawn care business. Ditch your uncomfortable earplugs or muffs and step up your game with ISO-Tunes. Hearing protection you'll want to wear. ISO-Tunes provides protection you need and freedom you deserve. Merging high-quality audio with unsurpassed durability, ISO-Tunes delivers OSHA-compliant protection to last you season after season. Gear up with the next generation of hearing protection. Visit isotunes.com today.
Well, on this episode, we did want to have some fun with you guys, talk about a quick topic because we've been hitting some pretty good wins lately, some W's. And one thing that we wanted to talk about was the fact that, like, hey, not every day is a day where we win, right? A lot of us are susceptible to, the dog days at summer. Sometimes business is tough. Sometimes we're not as profitable or successful as we'd all like to be.
Who is really? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to talk about how failure happens to all of us. And one thing that I heard somebody say is that failure is just a setback for a setup for a comeback, right? And I heard somebody else say once that failure is nothing but going from success is nothing but going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and it's so true because, I don't know if you guys ever feel like, I don't want to call it like this imposter syndrome thing, but I will say, you look around, you think everybody else has got it figured out.
Especially with social media, for sure.
Especially with social media. This guy's getting the deal. This guy got the contract. This guy got the car. This guy got the girl. Like, this guy's got the watch. And there's a lot of that out there. And frankly, it's gotten pretty toxic with social media in general because everybody's trying to project and portray.
Well, who wants to share, like, oh, I really royally screwed up today.
Right.
Like, going back to, I always think about the nuts that you put on backwards.
Oh, the lug nuts?
The lug nuts. Like, that's such a funny mistake that, like, was costly.
Oh, yeah. That was a $900 mistake.
But who really wants to put out there, like, I am a giant idiot. Not that you're a giant idiot. But, like, I made, like, a stupid mistake.
Right.
Who wants to actually just upload a photo of them, like, with their thumbs up, with their stripped, like, things,
Yeah, and who wants to walk around and say, yeah, I just crashed a company. Yeah, I got $1,200 left in my checking account, or $50. We've been there all the time.
I wish we did a better job early on of documenting the failures as well as we documented our progress.
100%. I feel like
it's a weird thing to do, though.
Yeah, because you don't want to go through the thick of it and say, "Hey, had a fight with my wife."
Right.
But everybody wants to, snap a photo out on date night and say, "Hanging out with a beautiful wifey for lifey," and that's fine. So we just wanted to have some honest conversation. We don't want to. Maybe we will deliver a couple good points here. I'm not sure, but hey, if Caleb and Brittany Allman can have a show called the Fun Friday episode, and Caleb can talk about nothing for 20 minutes.
We were listening to it, or we just came home from dinner, and he was like, "You got to listen, just like the first 15 minutes maybe of this is hilarious."
I love.
I'm like,
oh
my gosh, I miss them. It's only been a couple weeks since we've seen them, but it made me miss hanging out with them.
It was so funny because Caleb's like, "Look, we're a little behind on content. They're going 100 miles an hour. They're pulling labor because they had one of their employees out, so they're kind of covering for some different things right now." And it's just funny that their Friday episode was like them just bantering and bickering, and I was laughing so hard because. Same thing. I was like, babe, you've got to listen to this show. It's just funny hearing what just how they communicate as a husband and wife couple. And it's just encouraging stuff.
Well, it's so validating because they're looking at their business and everything, you're like, oh, they got it all figured out. But then you hear them they're so authentic and humorous and you're like, oh, they're just like us,
Yeah, and that's one thing that I don't know if we portray the best on our social media because I know a lot of folks think we don't have bad days, that we never fight. That is so far from the truth.
We had an argument before dinner.
You did.
For doing a podcast.
well,
we took a nap.
Well, we were well, we are getting every last T crossed and I dotted or whatever.
I think I'm nesting because I made Brian clean out our cabinets.
You wanted to, so somehow we have to build the nursery, right? And then that also turned into painting the nursery, doing everything for the nursery, cleaning out the medicine cabinets, cleaning out the kitchen cabinets, cleaning out the dishes, the dish drawer, the fork drawer. A label maker, that's a thing, guys. So keep your wife off Amazon. All the drawer, the cabinet where all the cleaning products, the trash bags under the sink, that had to get cleaned out. The appliances like the blenders and the crock pots, that had to get cleaned out. That has nothing to do with having a baby.
It does, because I'm thinking, everybody says that they want to help out and come and take care of you, take care of your baby and stuff after baby's born. If my cabinets are a mess and somebody wants to help me with my dishes, they don't know where anything goes. So of course I had to clean out our cabinets and label where everything goes.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Totally. Except for the fact
I'm
that
helping you help me.
Except for that part where you keep saying you don't want nobody over until you're ready to have them over. And don't come over too soon because you're nesting and you're mama bear and it's your first baby. So
I just don't know what things are going to be like.
So you can totally tell them exactly what cabinet to pull from, exactly what to make you. Tell me you're crazy without telling me you're crazy.
The last 2 weeks, I think I've gone completely radio silent on social media because I've just been in a bubble, baby bubble.
You've been nesting and it's a real thing.
And I guess it is a real thing. I didn't realize I was doing it until I'm in it and I'm oh.
So we had a fight.
Yeah, so we had
and our fights, by the way, we don't kick and scream, yell, throw stuff. We've kind of graduated from that because we're not mentally unstable anymore. Now that wasn't the case. that wasn't the case our first 5 years being together because we were at this old apartment. It was 700 square feet. Our bedroom had I think 4 or 5 solid holes in the drywall, which we're not proud of.
No.
But that's a fact. And we joked that it was 1 hole for every year that we were married at that time.
Yeah, it was.
And
sadly.
and do you want to tell them the one story about how you saw me punch the hole in the wall and then you wanted to be tough and cool? Do you remember this one?
Okay, Brian's usually the level-headed, believe it or not, person. I am the one
with the temper.
And
I get mad too. I can get mad.
Yeah, you do, but it takes a lot, and it was very rare. And you had recently, just recently, we had like a knockout, drag-out fight. You punched a hole in our wall, and I'm like,
years ago.
Oh yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, this man.
I mean, right through the drywall.
And so the next fight we got in, I'm like, I can do that too. Oh no, I can't. I punched that wall. It hurt so bad. I kicked it because I punched the wall because I was mad at Brian, and then I kicked the wall because I'm mad at the wall because it hurt my fist. My foot went through.
So you punched the wall. Your wrist rolled.
Yeah.
Then you went, oh. So now you're instead of mad at me,
kick.
Mom, Keith Jalfa style. And so then you kicked the wall.
I shouldn't be laughing about this. Should be embarrassing.
But it is embarrassing. Well, it's both. But if you guys are out there dealing with this kind of stuff, man, like just know that if y'all feel like you're crazy, the crazy train, we've been on it. We've taken multiple. We had a season pass on this crazy train. We've stopped paying the ticket toll. We just got the fast pass, like Cedar Point. But it was funny because
and that's not to say that's like good or something you should aim for.
No, but it's called progress, and it's like, hey, you're gonna have these tough seasons in your marriage, and you're not gonna get along. You're not gonna see eye to eye. I just saw Brittany Allman, go figure. That we were just talking about them. She reposted something from Tandem Marriage, and it said marriages are going to have conflict and fighting. It doesn't mean you married the wrong person. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's a good one. But it was really quick. It was funny because you had your back then you were working your corporate office job at the hearing rehab place, and you had your flats on, remember? And so you kicked it with like
it's basically just fabric.
Basically like ballet shoes, whatever, and you kicked it. It
really hurt,
dude. So not only did you break your wrist almost, you like smashed your toes.
It stopped the fight like immediately
because I just started laughing.
You can't do anything besides laugh.
And I go, what were you thinking? And you go, well, I saw you do it a week or two ago. Like, how hard could it be? I'm like, I'm a dude. Like, it's easier for me to probably punch through a wall than it is for you. You're gentle and delicate.
I tried. I gave it my best.
So we've been there. Yeah. I guess the point we want to talk about this podcast, because we were both BSing some ideas back and forth. And I was like, do you want to talk about this? Like, progress, or we're 2 seconds away from being debt free. We're going to do a podcast here really, really soon because we're really pumped about that. The business is going to be debt free. We've been personally debt free for a while, for like the last 12 and a half or 12 to 18 months, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think out loud. I don't really know. It's been a little over a year because we paid off our last stuff when Paul Jameson was up here in the summer. So we had paid our stuff off the cruise before November. So it's probably going on 2 years almost.
Was it before we moved here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been over 2 years then.
Yeah. Wow. Is it really?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Jeez, oh Pete. So we've been, I guess that's true. So we've been banking since then. But we've had some money on the truck that we still owed because we've just been trying to pad stats in the lawn care bank account. And then the Tesla gets paid out of like the social media company, the YouTube stuff. That was one of my goals for 5 or 6 years, doing all my YouTube social media. I was like, hey, one day this thing can like buy a Tesla or finance a Tesla, right? And so we got to that level. So we're really excited about having the lawn care company be totally debt free as well. So personally debt free, lawn care company's debt free. Mm-hmm. We could pay off the Tesla, but it's like I got 1.99 on it. Like,
there's some things that make sense, and then there's some things that our opinion that
and we got 2.49 on the truck. So really, like, it's like, do we want to just keep that? We owe like 16 grand on it left. It's not a ton of money, but it's exciting to just hold on to that. And we're just waiting to pad the checking account a couple multiples over, right? But the point of the podcast is like, we'll cover that whole debt story again later. But like, we've had our successes, we've had our failures, and just, it's the dog days of summer right now. I feel like a lot of guys are just tired. You're just one foot in front of the other this time of year. I don't know about you guys listening in, but that's sometimes how I feel. I'm like, the phone is still ringing.
It's been such a rough summer too, at least here.
Oh my gosh.
And I know it's different throughout the country. Like everybody everywhere has their own issues. It seems like this season, like we've gotten nothing but rain the entire month of July, which usually we have burnout. Like the drought. We're skipping.
Yep.
By now, usually.
Even in our nicer subdivisions with irrigation and fertilizer, we'll maybe lose a cut maybe in July or August.
Yeah, but it's not growing like it is, even with the watering, fertilizer. Like
it's a second spring.
Yeah, it's been really bad.
Well, and so we're dealing with tons of rain. Other folks are dealing with tons of drought.
Yeah.
So many of you guys
one or the other.
Yeah, I follow so many of you guys on social media, and so this time of year, it's like I very few people are having a moderate season. I've noticed it's like it's extremes.
Well, yeah, and add in that coming off of last season and COVID and all that stuff, like it's been easy. It's
been a crazy 12, 18 months. Yeah. And so we were like, hey, this time of year, Liz was like, well, how are you feeling? And I'm like, day by day. I want to be the hero and say, oh, we're going to rock fall. And oh, we're like snow's coming. And it's true. And we do have to keep a good attitude to plan ahead. But there's times too in the business where I'm like, man, this is a tough week. Like last week, we had like a work day, a rain day, a work day, rain day, work day.
It's been rough too. I'm sure everybody across the country right now with employees and staffing issues.
Yeah, we had our guy Dave quit. It was actually great. Like it was a mutually beneficial thing, mutually agreed thing. It totally worked out. He'll
probably still work with us in the winter, but just during the summer, it just wasn't working.
Very much so. Like his allergies and some sinus stuff, it was just really difficult for him. So we just both agreed like, hey, it's not working out. And he was really cool. So we're looking to hire another guy coming up here. We got an interview, so we'll see where that goes because we're trying to grow too behind the scenes. But this time of year, it's almost like you just pace. I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. And there's times to run.
It's like when you're working out and you're like, I can do anything for 1 minute. And then you say, at least that's what I do. Like, I can run at least for one more half mile. And okay, now the next half mile. Like,
what's the, is it Tabatas where it's 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off?
Yeah, there's HIIT and then Tabata. Tabata's worse than HIIT.
Yeah, like Tabata, like when they're like, oh, kettlebell swings for 20 seconds on and 10 seconds off. Anybody can last 20 seconds. No, you can't. 18 seconds in, I'm dying of kettlebell swings.
My prayer life gets so strengthened when I'm like working out because I'm like, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me for the next minute. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, but
I feel like that's what the season's been like.
That's this season in general. So we want to talk about like the fact that on social media, everybody's winning. It's always the highlight reel. Very few people, share, bad days or struggles. Well, hold on. Unless it's like an extreme, like the mower fell in the pond, or the trailer caught on fire. Oh. But it's like, no, I just mean in general, like there's daily frustrations. We deal with them. You guys deal with them.
Well, I think there's immense pressure too, especially with solo owner operator, even more so if you have like multiple guys, multiple crews, to be that perfect person that has all the answers, that has it all figured out because you have everybody looking at you. And whether you have a big company or it's just you, like if you're leading your household and it is just you, it's in my opinion, it's the same pressure as leading a bunch of people. Like, you know what I mean? The pressure doesn't change.
Hey, so by the way, that's actually going to be Corey Ballard's topic at Launchpreneur Academy.
He's like the perfect person to talk about that too.
Little plug there, little segue there. Launchpreneur Academy tickets at the time of this recording should have went on sale.
Right?
Yep, they should be on sale now on the website, launchpreneuracademy.com.
I'm excited.
Yep, we didn't really do a huge plug for it just yet. We did like kind of a soft push, but we got about 110 days till Launchpreneur Academy Live. That's our live event in November, so stay tuned to that. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna hold our baby over the crowd like the Lion King, and oh, we're crazy. So we just wanted to talk about the fact that success is nothing but going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm, right? And I think that's something that is really pertinent this time of year, is having that positive attitude and really being able to keep those blinders on, especially when you have a lot of distractions. But also at the same point, like it's okay to work hard, recover, work hard, recover, work hard, recover. I feel this time of year, it's really good idea to get away for those couple day weekends, those date nights, and for crying out loud, do go to the pool, do hang out for a quick minute, because you have to recharge work. It's like you said, those quick bursts and intervals. What do you think?
I think similar topic, but different. You taught me a long time ago.
Here we go.
And it took a while for it to sink in, to think of success and failure not as like a black and white thing, but as like a pendulum. Like you can't have one without the other. The bigger you fail, the bigger you can win, because the bigger lessons you learn. And to not be afraid of failure. So when those things happen, you almost look at it as a positive, like, okay, well, that was like a lesson learned. Like, oh, like when we have financial mistakes, we look at them as like an investment into our education, as silly as it sounds.
That is true.
And recognizing it, instead of getting down on yourself, because it is hard. I think a lot of people, if you own your own business, like you are a go-getter, like you are kind of more of that perfectionist type A, want to do everything by the books, correct? Like,
well, I couldn't afford mistakes.
Right. And they're terrifying, especially financial mistakes when you don't have it. Like, it's super scary.
Well, and you don't know what you're doing with equipment or a mower or a client. Somebody cancels you, fires you, you destroy something. I was into the Almonds episode. I forget what episode, but it, like when you're done with a podcast, it just auto plays the next one typically, or it'll go back to where a podcast left off if you didn't finish that episode. Well, the Almonds had one of their work trucks, and Caleb was talking about backing up over one of those wedges, those for the tire chocks, I think they're called, and it like wedged in between the dually tire, so it so it like shredded both tires, and they're like the commercial tires that are like $400-$500 each. So he was like, $1,300 later, So I couldn't afford those mistakes back then, and I just remember Caleb. You can hear like the despair like in his voice, but also the like. You know what? It is what it is. Like, let's put one foot in front of the other. It's a stupid problem. It's a problem that we have. What are you going to do? Just keep moving forward. And so that's a failure from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm, right? So he was still able to figure out how to make it successful out of there, even though he had to deal with a huge setback. And $1,300? I mean, the Almonds are rich, obviously. But, did you see that they're building their shop?
Yeah.
I said, hey,
we're gonna live in it.
I know. Right where my mind's going. We told him to make it like an extra 800 square feet bigger so we could have like an apartment there. And he goes, oh, so when you guys come down and visit, right?
Yeah. We visit.
Yeah,
never leave.
And then never leave. I told Caleb, I said, hey, you're building a shop, right? He goes, yeah. I go, I'm building a shop, right? He goes, dude, awesome. Can't wait. I go, why don't we build a shop together? Combine resources.
What, in Toledo? So we can each have an hour and a half commute?
I will literally move to Columbus, Ohio.
I am not
to save a couple $100,000 for real. I said, let's just build this thing together. We'll share resources. I mean, it's great too because we have this whole commune. With
everything that's been going on in Michigan, it is just a little bit tempting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, not to move to Ohio, but to Florida. Yeah. If things get any crazier this fall around here,
I don't like the bugs or humidity
in Florida. Well, they got those black fences that
for like alligators. It's worse.
Alligators and lizards, though.
They're not selling it.
Well, I mean, people can't get through them either. It actually sounds pretty awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like those huge cages. You remember those bird cages we saw like on the back of them? That's what we're talking about.
Bird cages, but yes, that's what we're talking about.
They're like lizard people cages too. It keeps people out of the property.
Oh,
yeah.
Lizard people of Florida.
Not lizard people. See, this is what happens when husbands hit record on the microphone and Brittany was just trolling Caleb. Caleb's like, we make ditches in the parking lot, and Brittany's like, you're like Google Earth or whatever, like reading it off the Google audio. And he's like, well, we sound way less intelligent if you go with that definition. And she's like, people are turning the podcast off. Okay? So you guys can tell we listen to the Kid Contractor podcast a lot and we love it. All right. So we just want to talk about failure and success, that sometimes it's just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're not the only one out there doing it.
Yeah. Right now, this time of year, guys, we're dealing with stupid stuff behind the scenes, just like you guys are. We're getting bids and quotes back from a lot of stuff. Things are, costing more money than we think. There's other things going out there where, we're trying to deal with hiring employees, and you're like, hey, it's mid-season. Do you want to work for us? It's only going to be for 3 months versus a 7, 8, 9, 10 month season, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that we're learning, we're trying to work through. What else was I going to say? Do you want to do anything on the house right now? We'll just give them a little update.
A little update?
Yeah, just a little update, because I don't think we get.
So this is kind of not really a failure, but like
we're learning.
We're learning. So obviously with having a baby, there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And we made the decision to push our house out.
About 2-3 months.
About 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
Hello, it's Marty, and more with Brian and Liz in just a moment. But I just got to get some details into your hands, into your ears about Launchpreneur Academy Live 2021, November the 13th, Novi, Michigan. This is going to be the biggest and best one yet. Hundreds upon hundreds of launchpreneurs just like you coming together to get the skills necessary just to make 2022 an amazing year. The lineup this year: Corey Ballard, Keith Kalfas, Greg Whitstock. We've added Paver Pete. We've got Caleb and Brittany Hallman, of course, Brian and Liz, Jeff Joyner coming back as the keynote. This inspiring conference brought to you by Exmark, RedMax, SureTrack, and Yardbook. And our friends at Toro's Horizon 360 are putting together an event on Friday night. So if you can get to town early, come hang out and network and have a blast at the Full Throttle Adrenaline Park. Yeah, that means high-powered go-karts, virtual reality, and a lot more. So keep listening. We're going to be giving you just probably more information than you can absorb in the days ahead. But the thing I want you to do right now is go over to lawnchpreneuracademy.com and secure your tickets. We don't want you to be left out of the event. Go ahead and grab those. They're going to go fast, and we will put a link in the show description.
Which,
it's who cares?
Yeah, it really, like, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter to anybody what we do. But whenever you have to change plans, it always sucks.
Yeah, because everybody's like, when you guys building the house? Building the house? Like, we get that question more than when's the baby coming?
We do.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's coming, you know? But the honest answer is, like, wood was coming down a little bit. We're holding back. We're putting some more money in the bank. We wanted to have you and myself, of course, you know, enjoy baby for the first 3, 4, 6 weeks. Yeah. You can rest up, heal, a bunch of stuff in between there.
Especially with it being your first, like, I don't know what to expect. Not that, I mean, like, every pregnancy, I guess, is different. But, you know, you only get to build so many houses in your lifetime, and you only get to have your first baby once. So to do both at the same time, I didn't want to take anything away from the other kind of a thing.
100%.
And so it was kind of like a pressure relief valve. Honestly, we called our builder and we're like, hey, this is what we're thinking. And he's like, you know what? As like a dad myself, as like somebody who cares about you guys, you know, this sounds like a great idea. He
was so cool, Mike Miller. We were gonna do some podcasts maybe down the future with him and some video with him for sure.
Yeah, because he's owned his own construction business for
a very, very successful guy in the area. I mean, like, really cool dude. He builds 10, 12, 15 custom homes that are $1 million plus per year. I mean, he's got it going on, right? And he was so just kind and understanding. He's like, guys, it sounds like you're a little stressed out about this. There's no pressure on my end. We can start pulling the building permits. We can start pulling a couple different things. But if you don't want to break ground for another 60 to 90 days, no big deal. And then he goes, in fact, let me give you a couple good reasons why the fall is a better plan for you.
Yeah.
And he goes, things are coming down a little bit here. We're noticing pricing is changing here. This might work toward your favor. You know, he educated me on the summer conditions with all the rain and humidity we've been having. He's like, you can pour your foundation. There's nothing wrong with that. He goes, me personally, fall's a great time to do the foundation. And he was giving me a dozen pros and cons, right? And it was really, really cool. So
it was exactly what we needed.
So we're failing, right? Honestly,
it felt like failure.
It felt like failure, but the reality is that
every time you can't do we like to run at like a high octane level.
Yeah.
And when we can't, that feels
like the wind gets sucked
garbage.
Out of you.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're trying to buy a truck right now and somebody else beat you out on the price, or they sold it and you're like, dude, I had a deposit down. Like, yeah, well, this guy came with, you know, $2,000 extra over sticker plus cash.
Yeah.
And you're like, that sucks. And then like other times you're trying to buy your first home. I know so many of you guys right now are trying to buy your first home and you have to pay 10, 20, 30 grand over, what do they call it? MSRP, you know, just retail.
It's just crazy right now. Yeah.
Which is insane. We have so many friends that have been bought or beaten out.
Yeah.
Is that what you would call it?
Outbid.
Outbid.
I think that's what's called.
Yeah, beaten out with pricing. And they're like, oh yeah, like this home was 250 grand, but somebody else came in for 280, which means they paid the 30 extra. And then they're
waived you know, the
an inspection.
Yeah.
And they paid cash, you know, this kind of stuff. And we're like, hey, we're like in our 30s and we have about 30, 40 grand to our name, like our friends. And they're like, hey, we had the 3.5% down.
Right.
but we could pay it 8 grand extra and they're getting beat out. So there's a lot of times when you fail. And like you said, Liz, you have to adjust. And it was uncomfortable. It wasn't fun. That was not the game plan.
Right.
Right. We're like, no. We're building a home, dude.
We can do it all.
We can do
everything.
Yeah.
No, we can't. And it's okay if you can't.
And it stinks sometimes because you have to admit defeat. You have to regroup. And what is that? It is a failure. But a success is nothing but going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. Right? Are we still pumped up about the house?
Yeah, we did hire our interior or designer.
So this is like a caveat right here. So what happened instead? Little house update. We went from a huge failure. We thought like we're losers. We're never going to, we moved it out 60 days, folks. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
By the way, in that meantime, making a gob of money, right? Or a gab of a gob, as my friend Paul likes to say that I say. But in the meantime, the caveat was a blessing came our way that maybe we wouldn't have had lined up.
It freed me up like mentally to be able to do a couple other things on the house besides like worrying about I'm going to have the baby any minute and I'm going to have all this stuff on my plate. And so I was able to hire our designer, which is crazy. Like I never thought I'd be somebody to hire a designer
interior.
for my house. Well, she does everything with us.
That's
so
true.
I'm basically hiring a friend with a great opinion to walk through the process with me to bounce things.
She's great.
She's awesome.
If you want to follow her already, what's her name?
Megan Rose Interiors.
That's her Instagram handle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll leave a little show note or something like that. Give her a little follow, give her a bump. She's a great girl.
Yeah.
We had 2 consulting meetings with her already. Any day now, actually, probably this week. By the time this podcast comes out, we might already have a lot of the, help me out here, what's it all called? That she's going to give us this like report back of all the different changes and suggestions.
Yeah, she looked at our floor plan with us, went over it with me. And, just was like, have you ever thought about, changing the way this door swings out, or instead of having, this entryway here, what about moving it over or making it wider or making this part of the ceiling, just a little bit taller, adding this touch here. And I love it. Like I'm so pumped. So we had to slow down to speed up, and
we thought it was failure.
Yeah.
And we pushed it back 60 days or whatever we're doing.
Now we have somebody else in our corner. Like it's
who's
perfect.
totally helping us out.
Yeah. And she's totally somebody I would like hang out with.
She's so cool.
Yeah.
She gets us. We get her. She's a great girl. She's on the come up for sure. We're like, hey, like by the way, we do some stuff with social media. Like
she's
we don't
all about it.
We don't want to freak you out because like you're gonna get a lot of eyeballs.
You never know what to say to somebody. Like before we went to our first architect meeting, we're like, hey, so can we bring a camera with us? And like they're like, yeah, sure. We walk in and we have like the big camera with like the big mic, and they're like, oh,
my big Canon.
A camera. They're like, yeah.
They're like, what are you doing with that? I'm like, capturing your soul. They're like, okay.
So, but she was all about it. I think she's gonna be a great like new member to the team.
So there was a what, like the pearl or whatever they call it, like the if there's, what is it, like the diamond out there in the rough or something like that. Whatever all these sayings are. Like, hey, we were able to find opportunity in the least likely of circumstances or outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. And so we just didn't give up. We just kept a good attitude. We just look, and this is like practical real life stuff. When one door closes, another door opens. And some of you guys maybe it's just a timely podcast for some of you guys out there that are listening to this that, hey, maybe you didn't get that mower. Maybe you didn't get that truck. Maybe something happened. Keep your head on a swivel, keep a good attitude. Maybe a blessing will come your way that you weren't even considering or thinking of. Mm-hmm. And it ends up working out 2, 3, 4 times better anyway.
Right.
That's what happens to us all the time. And so we try to be faithful and not bludgeon things to death.
Right. When you hold things with an open hand versus like a clenched fist, like we talked about that with tithing.
Yep.
But it's the same thing with like opportunities and failures and successes. If I feel like the harder you try and hold on to things that are failures and grind it out and make it happen, like sometimes obviously like you need to do that.
Yeah.
When things just aren't working and it feels like you're beating your head against the wall, like
maybe that's not the right opportunity.
It's okay to loosen up and like, unclench your fist.
Do you want to tell them the story of the other apartment complex really quick? Because this is like a great example of down the road.
My gosh, Shearwater. Oh, I probably shouldn't say their name.
Why would you say their name? Mr. Producer can timestamp that out at the 30-minute mark. Anyway. Just leave it in there. Who cares? What are you going to do at this point? See, here's why, guys.
Such a bad experience.
If you guys listen to the show, and they're good people. Okay, don't send them a hate mail. But here's the deal: when you get hundreds and thousands of people that listen to podcasts or certain things, like people like will go after people. Like, do you know these people changed my life?
This was years ago, and
yeah, like these people changed my life. Who do you think you are? And then like they'll vouch for you, and then people get like calls and weird emails.
I really shouldn't have said that.
It's fine, but like we got denied from this apartment complex.
Okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with our story, we lived in a 700 square foot apartment for 7 years.
7
years.
Yep.
And it was rough. Like, I mean, our carpet was 12 years old. There was mold in the bathroom. Like, they gave us a can of spray paint to spray paint over the mold every year.
We showed some of these photos at Together in the Trades. Yeah. I'm going to show them again at Launchpreneur Academy.
Okay.
Our inception. And maybe that video.
Oh, I don't know about the video.
Well, we'll talk about the video.
We'll talk.
Before we left, I took a 2-minute pan of the whole place. And you guys want to talk about before and afters. You want to talk about the highlight reel versus like real life. It was rough. It looked like a hoarder house storage facility.
Yeah.
And
we were operating
3 businesses.
3 businesses out of it. Mm-hmm. I was doing my Etsy shop at the time, making farm signs, like staining and painting them in our apartment because we didn't have anywhere else to do it.
And we were hustling, just trying to make it happen. Yeah. We didn't get to document that part as well. But before I left, I said, dude, this is like one of those time capsule things where we might look back on this 5 years from now as we were about to build this, bodacious home. to see where we came from, to see
I
where
don't know
we're
at what level we need to get to where my self-image is okay with showing people like that video.
If you want to see that video,
it's not good.
Launchpreneur Academy Live, November 13th. We'll have tickets in the show notes and the link in the show notes. And go to launchpreneuracademy.com. That's there. The new snow contracts are there. Check it out while you're there. Great resources. But we went to this apartment complex.
Yeah. So we had finally reached a point, like we had talked about getting debt free.
Yeah.
Like we had these goals that we had set, a certain income level, a certain amount in the bank, and we wanted to be debt free before we moved out of that apartment.
Yep.
We wanted to hit certain goals in our business. Like we stayed there. We could have moved out to a different place a while before that, but if you've been listening to anything for a while from us, I think it's pretty obvious we're very goal oriented and type A about it. So
we're very definitive on goals.
Yeah.
Like there's no negotiating a goal.
Yeah. So we finally got to the point where we're comfortable, leaving this crappy apartment. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And this new place had opened up just down the street, brand new construction build. We're like, oh, this is perfect. It's in our budget. Like there's,
Not really. I mean, we like stretched to even get in there. We were like,
it was within.
We could afford it.
Yeah.
But we had never paid that much for a place.
We were so conservative. You guys have to understand with our finances.
It was double the rent.
We had never spent that much money a month in expenses before, let alone just on rent. Although we were then to a point where we could afford it, it's still, when you do that, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's like going from a $300 a month car to a $600 a month car. You're like, that's ridiculous. Even though your income might have doubled, and the car payments, the same thing.
Right.
It's all relative.
Because it was right down the road, we had to like watch this place get built, and we're like, oh, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Like, maybe one day.
We painted the dream.
Day. We toured them. We're like, okay, it's an apartment. Like, we came from so far back. We're dream building about an apartment. Like that's. We were looking at houses, but I was like, hey, when you're done looking at that 4,000 square foot, McMansion, hey, there's this really cool apartment that it has 2 toilets, and an extra closet. Can you believe it?
And some context, like the smallest unit was the downstairs unit. It's maybe 1,200 square feet, let's say, for $1,400. Now there's like the $1,700 unit, the $1,800 unit, the $2,100 unit.
We were just looking at the base.
We were looking at the base $1,400 unit because that's where our self-image was. Yeah. And there was no vacancies for that apartment because everybody else left, the halfway house apartments to get that apartment.
There,
it's like the nicest of the, you know what I'm saying? The cheapest of the nicest, right? So
we go and we finally apply.
Yep. These are real stories, by the way. We don't make this stuff up.
Like this back and forth, horrible, awful process between, yes, you qualify, no, you don't qualify. Yes, you qualify. We need to see last year's tax returns and this year. We're finishing up whatever it was, I think in January, like we're going to have to see your taxes.
17 or 18.
Yeah. And it was such a roller coaster of emotions. So we're finally in a place where we're going to even be able to go and apply. Oh, great. We qualified. Bucks. Like, this is awesome. Like, there's no real reason we shouldn't have. We think it's because of the lawn care business. They didn't want
us there.
We
get discriminated against.
It was
like crazy.
There's a whole
timeline
of events there, but
we applied, got denied.
Yep.
We kind of reapplied and asked them for a reconsideration. They said that our credit history or something like that wasn't, or whatever it was. There's 5 things that they break down on their little approval process, and you guys don't want to qualify for this.
Meanwhile, we're debt free. We bring in a decent,
we're making $100,000 a year
chunk of money.
Yep.
And to make matters, I don't know if worse or funnier.
Yeah.
We know people who live there currently who make less than we were making with more of a debt load, 6-figure debt load living there. So there's no reason other than they didn't want us living there because we own the lawn care company and self-employed. And the funny thing is, I told the lady, I go, her name was Sarah, I believe. And I said, hey, Sarah. It was Sarah.
I go, hey, just so you know, why don't I just prepay rent for the year?
Yep.
Not being a big shot.
No, but we needed to get out of this crappy apartment we were in. I
was like, I don't know what your report says, but I have everything in front of me. I don't care what anything says. I've never missed a payment on anything in my entire life. My credit score is 830, 840. It fluctuates 10 points every month. I have an 830, 840 credit score. Okay. we have no debt, all this stuff. This was 2-3 years ago. And she's like, yeah, but this came back as this. I go, that's nothing. There's no reason. You want to talk about frustrating? How many times do we email them back and forth within 60 days between January, February, March?
It was, I don't even know.
10 times.
Yeah.
We went back there 3 times. We reapplied 10 times. They would not approve us.
No, it wasn't even just that. I was like, yeah, you know what? This should be good. This looks good. It'll be fine.
Then nothing.
And then nothing. And then we would call and be like, so? And they were like, oh yeah, no.
We prayed like you wouldn't believe.
It was like beating our head against a wall. And I would go to Bible study. I would cry to like our Bible study ladies. Like, we're never going to make it out of this apartment. Like, we can't even get into like a nice apartment, let alone a house. Like, it felt like it was a never ending, like the door was shut and we were just banging on it.
And you know, we always wonder, right? We talk about this times, like maybe God had a different plan for us.
Totally.
Right.
Because it was so hard to see it when you're in it.
Because then we found this place where we currently live. The rent is a little bit more. We were not, that wasn't in our, what would you call it? Like our budget, our comfort zone for paying.
Yeah, I wouldn't say budget because, like, I mean, like Brian said, like we offered to pay an entire year's rent up front in cash.
Right.
Like we had the money.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. So
Well, you had said, hey, there's this new place that's getting built a couple more miles down the road. It's brand new construction as well. A little bit bigger, a little bit nicer. Also a little bit more money. A little bit more money. And I said, no, I'm like, no, we will never spend that much money. There's no way. Like, you're crazy, right? Like, you know, I could do a whole nother talk about renting versus buying. Don't even get me started. People who say, oh man, you're throwing money away and you're throwing away equity and all. Literally don't listen to those people. That is the most horrible, dumbest advice I've ever heard.
You have to do what makes sense for you. And anyways, I don't want to get on that topic.
No, I'm going to do a whole other podcast because renting has been the best thing for me. And somebody would say, well, you just, spent, $50,000, $60,000 in the last couple of years throwing away rent. And I'm like,
yep.
I'm like, sure did. It was the best thing I've ever done with my life. My overhead is so minimal. I can go into it. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. The people that give that advice, you don't want their income. You don't want their life.
But like we felt like massive losers.
Yeah, we did.
Like talk about failure and like that feeling of like squid, like, like you have your tail between your legs and we're like, oh man, so now we go to look at this place. It's even bigger. It's even nicer. Like if they didn't qualify us at this place, why would we ever suspect that we would get
And success is going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. And we went from failure to failure and then we find this place and
it was perfect. I mean, the amount of like windows in here, the way that it's, decorated, like things like that, it just looked so much more like us. It's in a much nicer city. Like it felt
like literally buying a room at the Trump Hotel.
It did at the time. Yeah. If you go back on Fullerton Party of Two, the YouTube channel, there's a video of us moving in. We were running around here like we had just won the lottery.
We'll never fill this place up.
Yeah.
This place is incredible. You loved it. You were like, I'm going from.
It's honestly the nicest place I've ever lived, and it's just an apartment. Like this is nothing.
We are so confused.
Yeah, I don't know.
But our self-image was there.
Yeah,
and we were growing. It's the peak principle.
But when we like talk to them, like here to apply, they're like, oh yeah, everything looks great. You guys are approved, and we're like, what?
She instantly they did their little instant approval.
Yep.
She's like, yeah, you came back with all green checks. I go, well, the other place. She goes, yeah, I don't know. She goes, based on tax returns. She goes, you guys.
I don't need to see anything further.
She goes, what else do I need to see? She goes, you guys make good money, like, and you guys have great history, great credit score. I'm like, well, why is the other place? She goes, I don't know, maybe a different system. I go, really? So that's like there's some other stuff that was like kind of fishy behind the scenes, but so we moved into here and it changed everything, right? But
because now we had to live up to what we set ourselves,
This was like a stretch goal. We get in here. Now it's our new normal. Now I'm like, we pay this thing off in a day. Like, you don't even care.
Step up your hearing protection game with the earmuffs you've been waiting for. Introducing ISOtunes Link. With up to 28 hours of battery life and a hands-free experience, Link is perfect if you prefer over-the-ear protection on the job. Sweat and water-resistant memory foam cushions deliver the level of comfort you want and the protection you need. Gear up with the next generation of hearing protection. Visit isotunes.com today.
We were so going from failure to failure. We were trying to make it happen. So many of you guys are like, man, I didn't get approved, for that truck. I didn't get approved for this. I didn't get approved for that. And we've been there. Like we've been there so many times with failures.
Nothing makes you feel like worse. I mean, granted, there's worse feelings in life than not getting approved for a car or an apartment. But
getting denied.
It makes you feel so low.
Yeah.
So low.
I will tell you this. One of my life goals, and we'll button up the podcast right here if you want, but one of my
supposed to be 20 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes later, right? Like we're all getting all heavy again, I'll tell you what, one of my life goals is to never be denied anything ever again. Like financially, credit, cars, loans, mortgages, I don't care what it is. I'm tired of getting denied stuff. Like I have been for 10, 15 years. Some of you guys, like, your motivation is your motivation, right? Mm-hmm. Mine is mine. Like,
I have angry motivation.
I have angry, right? Like righteous motivation, anger. I get mad when somebody's like, well, you don't qualify here. I'm like, not only can I pay rent for the year, I could pay your salary for the year. I don't understand. I have, and it's not about money, but I'm like, I have money in the bank. You have a room. What else needs to be, figured out here? I've been denied for cars. I've been denied for my truck. Remember we were trying to get the truck? Talked about that on a previous podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on the way to GIE. Ugh.
On the way to GIE, we pulled over. I was crying. Yeah. I'm like, I'm making money, and it's like, well, we don't see it. And that's when I'm like, all right, we got to get the business more organized to make it proper, right? But that's one of my things. I'm like, I will never, ever not get denied. That was just one of my like life goals. Like, Fullerton, what drives you, I said, ask the right questions in life and you'll get the right answers. And it's not the how questions, it's the why questions.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I'm like, I'll never get denied ever again. And by the way, I worked so dang hard these last 4 or 5 years that not only will we never get denied anything, I didn't know the groundswell we would make to now be able to pay cash for anything that I wanted.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll never get denied like a loan for a Tesla. Well, then I made enough money to actually pay cash for the Tesla because I worked so hard.
If you guys come from a similar background like we did, like if you know what it's like to be at the grocery store with your parents and like get to checkout and you have to put groceries back, it's that feeling.
Yeah.
And so if you know, and you get it.
Yep.
If you don't, I'm so glad.
Have we ever, God bless Weingarts. Have we ever ran, short end on Weingarts? Like, hey, just put it on the tab. Just put that trimmer on the tab. Nope, 350. We're good for it, man. Just put it on our social security number. Yep. You got it on the tab. We'll definitely catch up with our Sheffield or Synchrony credit card later. And Ted would be like, yeah, we're just gonna put it on the credit card. I'm like, Liz, do we have any room on that credit card? Like, do we have room? We've done that. Mm-hmm. We have so done that. It sucks. It sucks. And here's the thing, guys, like now, like we're working hard, we're making money. Like that was the goal. That was the dream. It didn't happen overnight.
No, not at all. And if you're in it and it feels like you're losing, just remember that it's better to be in it and feel like you're losing than out of it and still losing.
And actually lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're still in the fight, you still have hope.
Yeah.
And that was, hey, by the way, we lost. We didn't get to build a home this next, 2 weeks. Right. But guess who gets to win the real battle, the real war? 2 months from now, we're going to break ground. And by the way, if even that was, I told Liz the other day, I get so freaking mad, like fired up. You guys have no idea. Like I told Liz the other day, I said, if they deny us for this loan, I'll pay cash for it next year. And then we're talking a big loan. Okay, folks. And I said, they have no idea who they're messing with and what I'm committed to doing.
Don't you know who I am?
Who I am?
Oh my gosh, you're terrible.
It's not like that. But some of you guys are out there and you're sick and tired of people just stepping on you and not getting your way. And I'm not saying like a whiny baby or you're entitled to it. I'm just saying like, the work you're putting in.
When you get to a point in business and in life where you've put it in. Like it is owed to you. Like you did the work and now like that the world owes you.
Yeah.
Like that's not entitlement.
No.
That's completely different.
Yeah. That's called walking into it.
Yeah.
That's called receiving it by faith. That's called you putting in those dues, and that stuff is entitled to you in that exact fashion because you've totally earned what you're looking for, and now it just has to materialize, attract to you, come into reality, and come into this realm out of the faith realm. Mm-hmm. We talk about this stuff all the time, and you don't have to subscribe to that. Okay. That took me 10, 12 years to, wrap my head around. I had to listen to the Kenneth Copelands, the TD Jakes, so many other different people out there, priests and pastors and spiritual, type conversation. Cause I was not like atheist or like agnostic or anything like that, but I was a skeptic. I'm still a skeptic. I'm still a skeptic with so many things that people teach and say.
Not with Christ,
but in general, a lot of things people say, I'm like, I'm going to go put that to the test, then see if it works. 'Cause I like to be a truth seeker, a truth finder on everything we do, and a fruit inspector. So what's one last thing?
Sorry, no, this has nothing to do with anything.
What?
No, I just remember because this is literally nothing. This is going to derail the whole thing.
Why'd you just burst into laughter?
Because so pregnancy brain's a real thing.
Yeah.
And how I've been having like the weird words like pop up. Like the other day I was talking about Jesus and I was like, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't know why it just popped into my head.
The sacred text.
And the sacred text. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
You sent me a notepad message to pick something up from the store and you go, did you not read the sacred text? And I'm like, what does the Bible right now have to do with anything?
This doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about.
But your baby brain has been crazy.
Yeah, and so I just started laughing.
But you said you text me back. You go, did you not read the sacred text? And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, I didn't read the sacred text. Where is the sacred text? What is the sacred text? I don't know. What is the sacred text? And I'm Googling what is sacred text. It comes up with the Bible. Did I read my Bible today? I don't know if I read my Bible today. It's a Tuesday. I don't normally read it. I read it on Wednesday. So I don't. So
this is good. This has nothing to do with anything.
This is baby brain putting this story in because this is some self-deprecating stuff. No. This is your baby brain.
It made me laugh because we're talking about Jesus. I don't know.
Wouldn't you technically be twice as smart since you got two brains and they're working?
You would think.
I mean, I'm a brilliant dude because I got two heads rocking and rolling all the time.
God,
I mean, that's
terrible.
why I'm so smart. Hello.
Yeah, so smart.
So smart.
You want me to tell them what you're wearing right now?
They know I never wear pants doing this thing.
Do they know you match your t-shirt to your underwear every day?
They don't know that.
Well, they do now. Talk about lizard people's brains wearing a matching green shirt with his green underwear.
They don't need to know that.
Oh, I do know.
Is it silky? You want to tell them what it's made out of and how it works?
It's a light polyester cotton.
What is that? You're making stuff up, bro. You're so weird right now. This podcast literally just went on 19 seconds.
I warned you. I was like, this has nothing to do with anything. You're like, no, what? What are you laughing at? And I'm like trying to motion, like, no. Like,
it's about motivation.
Don't pick me. Like, you know when the teacher's like asking for participants in class and the kids look everywhere but the teacher? And so I was trying to do it with you to like signal like, don't talk to me right now. Like I'm laughing over nothing. Thank you. This is your fault, actually.
Wow. Way to own it.
The sacred text, man.
The sacred text. I was like, what? Where are you going with this right now? All right. This is how we wrap up our podcast. Right. By the way, we are competing, Caitlin and Brittany Allman, for the worst episode right now. Actually, their episode was really good. The Friday strips.
They had like a good train going.
Their Friday special.
Somebody just built a wall across the tracks that we just smashed into.
Yeah, with your train on your monorail. Because my train.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
We are one.
We are one.
Train.
Isn't it funny, like when you're succeeding, we're together. When you fail, like that's his problem.
It's like, oh, look how cute my dog is when he's being nice. And oh, you better come get your dog because he just.
Yeah, right. You go get your son. Go get your daughter.
Anyways, okay.
Well, okay. We're gonna button up the podcast. This was a fun, quick episode. This is a
fun, quick episode.
48 minutes left, and then you add the ads. It's probably at like 2 hours, But it's okay. It's okay. This is our real life. We like just kind of giving you guys a glean into our life and our craziness that is the Fullertons. By the way, let's just button up right here. A couple quick things. One, thanks for the support of the show lately. We've been rocking like the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah, you were up with that lady, the shark lady.
You don't even know her name.
No, I don't.
That just means that you know my name more than her name. And holla back. Barbara Cochran. or Cochran. I don't know her name. But she's a Shark Tank person. So she's probably... Between her, I mean, if we took like she's worth $100 million and what I'm worth, I mean, together we're worth, at least $100 million. But that's not true though, because I got some money on the table over there, and I walked into the nursery the other day, and I came in with a stack. And what did you do? But you immediately started shaking that bum.
Okay.
You started shaking that bum. And you said, I go, what are you doing? You go, well, I was anticipating you were going to. You said, we're muting the mic right now. I got to mute the right mic. She goes, I thought you were coming in here. I mute the mic. She goes, I thought you were going to make it rain. And I go, what? So I go, what are you talking? You're a married woman. You're 30.
I mean, if I had a stack of money, that's what I would do.
I came in there. I sold a piece of equipment. I had a rack of, hondos, and you're like, couple,
I was just wiggling.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing?
That's all I can do.
You're like, well, you were clearly about to start throwing that and start making it rain. And I went, is this like a Jay-Z video?
Yeah. In our daughter's nursery.
In our daughter's nursery? This is so weird.
Just stop recording me.
I was like, I didn't even motion.
People are going to be so sad that they missed this who don't listen to the whole episode.
I didn't even motion that I was going to throw money at you. I was just like, hey, I came back.
We talked about this.
Listen, hold on. You're muting your mic again. Listen. So I came in like a hunter-gatherer. I came in with my prey, my kill, right? And I go, look at this. Shh, stop. Stop. You sound like Brittany Almond. You guys just scream to get on the show, you know? Caleb's like, woman, be nice. I come in with my hunt, my prey, you know, like that I got. Yeah. And I go, oh, look at what I brought. And you go, shake that money, make it right. Shake that money. And
it was like the other day when you fixed the toilet. I was a BDE, which I won't say what it is.
What is that? Well, guess we'll have to Google that later. I understand. I understand what that is. I'm not stupid, but I fixed the toilet because the bulb was
showing my appreciation.
This is so ridiculous.
I know.
Listen, the screwdriver. I had the screwdriver. I had to fix the water thing because it was running. The toilet was running, and I fixed it. And you came out and you go, "You have never been more attractive in my entire life."
No.
You were like, "Come here, baby," and I'm like, "Get away from me, woman!" Like Paul Jameson's taking notes of this podcast
because I wake up like 4 times a night to go pee and I have to waddle my butt down the hallway to the toilet doesn't run because I don't have patience to sit there and wait for it and jiggle the handle and make it stop before I go back to bed.
Aren't you so appreciative that I took care of our family to get you 2 toilets?
Yeah.
Now you have luxury.
Yeah.
Aren't you so grateful?
Yeah. Aren't you grateful to do a little dance?
There's nothing more attractive than a 9.5-month pregnant woman shimmying at you, shaking that rump when you got a stack of hundos in your hand. This is the Unfiltered Podcast.
This is bad.
This is hilarious.
This just needs to stop.
You guys want the secrets, man. You want the unfiltered part. It's Lon's Lessons Life.
What is this?
This is, I don't know. We're trying to keep it Disney on this show. When somebody's on that chart and they're like, Fullerton Unfiltered.
The last episode I was on, we talked about.
Yeah, I know the S word, success. And it's just funny though, because when you go to like the charts and it's like Fullerton Unfiltered, there's no explanation.
It's just this man with this weird screaming face.
They're going to be like, like we talk about lawnmowers and so how do you keep the stripes straight? Well, I like to keep the straight line on the mower to get the stripes straight. That's my secret to straight stripes.
Careful.
Okay. It's like, thanks, guys. That's what like somebody outside listening and listens to the show. They're like, and this clown show is in the top 50. It's like, yes, sir.
Oh. But if they just listen to the end, they get the good part like this.
That's what we do. We put all the best content at the end.
So you have to listen all the way through.
So you got to listen all the way through. That's why you listen and watch.
Mr. Producer's just going to own my life on this one. I just know
you are toast. He's got...
It's fine, though, because I'll never listen to it.
You guys just hear that? Liz goes, it's fine because I don't listen to it anyway. What are you doing to our show? Do you know how much I rely on that download? That's what keeps us in the top 200. You, Caleb, and Brittany, and my mom. My mom's our 5th download per month. That keeps us in the top 200. I got to pay bills around here.
She mutes it, but she plays it multiple times.
My mom will text me. She goes, watch your YouTube video today.
I let the ads
play every day. She has a group chat with us. She goes, I watch the ads. She goes, I don't know anything about Roman wipes, but it's okay. I just let the ad play. I go, what are you getting promoted to you again? It's a whole other story. Look, if we want the ad dollars, that's where we got to go. But we're keeping the show Disney. So, all right.
Not anymore.
Well, that was because of you. If you guys want the secret, man, come up under your wife with a stack of hundos and see what happens.
See what she does when she wiggles.
Last thing, like the Instagram where like the mom will go put out her hand, to her like 4-year-old kid to see if he like swats it.
Oh, they like put their little hand in or or my favorite is when they put their little head.
Yeah.
It is so cute.
It is really cute. Mm-hmm. Or like if you're a husband, you bring a stack of hundreds to your wife. Does she start shaking and dancing? Does she take the money? Does she go, what's that? She goes, what did you rob? Like,
I'm not going to ask any questions.
You didn't ask any questions. You just started dancing.
I don't know what that says about
that. That is something else. Yeah. What is your background? Talk about.
I told you.
Talk about enthusiasm. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't even know how I can wrap this up with a straight face.
We talked about Jesus, money,
Jesus, faith, success, and a little bit of everything. So you get everything on this show for the one low price of free $99. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Well, guys, we appreciate you so much listening to the show. A little fun Friday recap. Shout out to all my weekend warrior friends. All you guys that are mowing on Saturdays and Sundays. Hope the weather holds out for you guys. Maybe you're listening to the show on Saturday. This episode dropped on Friday. You guys don't get enough love out there. So shout out to my weekend warrior friends, as well as the regular listeners to the show. We come at you guys Monday through Friday, 3 days a week. So guys, appreciate you listening in. Babe, you good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll button up right here. Yeah. Say thanks, Mr. Producer. Take it easy on me. Mr. Producer. All right, guys. Over and out. This episode of Fullerton Unfiltered. We'll catch up with you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Do you want to keep the cash flowing this winter? Head over to L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com and check out all of Brian Fullerton's new courses and powerful resources to get you cashing in on that white gold through plowing snow. The snow plowing training course is easy to understand, and you'll learn what it takes to do the job effectively and how to bid, price, and estimate snow plowing for both residential and commercial properties. L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com has 3 new resources to take the hassle and guesswork out of securing your snow removal jobs. Plus, there's eye-catching marketing materials that can help you secure new clients quickly. Ready to crush the snow game this year? Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.